What is up, everybody? Welcome back to Steel City Live here on Mike Drop Sports. Beat the shit out of that like button. I appreciate it. What's up, Miss Pittsburgh in the building? Good to see you. Everybody, leave those comments early. Make sure you're hitting that like button for us. Get this show sent out into that YouTube algorithm. We truly appreciate it. If you're not subscribed, I don't know what the hell you're waiting for, as we are going to dive into some NFL news, notes, and analysis each and every day here on the channel, specifically Pittsburgh Steelers football. So make sure you are joined into the conversation each day. Again, thank you for joining us. We're going to dive in here, man. Thank God for Deshawn Elliott. Thank God for Deshawn Elliott, speaking of, man. That's the thing that I put in the thumbnail today. I want to talk about that. I also want to talk about a possible wide receiver target to hit free agency that may be of interest to the Pittsburgh Steelers, former Washington Commander. Well, still kind of associated with that team, but sent to hit that free agency market. Also, which running back that could be really quite familiar with the AFC North could be a landing spot to be in Pittsburgh for that running back, for a AFC North running back that has some high pedigree. We're going to talk about that and much, much more here as we take your comments, questions, and concerns here on the show. Again, good to see everybody. Good to see everybody hitting that like button early. We're already getting going there. So, again, thank you. All you got to do is double tap that screen. It's absolutely free. What's up, Roberta in the house? How are you? Good to see you guys, Miss P and Roberta in the chat early. Good to see that. But again, guys, thank God for Deshawn Elliott speaking the truth. Leave his old ass in the retirement home. Can't be much more blunt than that from the player that I thought was the best free agent acquisition for the Pittsburgh Steelers in 2024, and that is one Deshawn Elliott. Deshawn Elliott speaking his mind, saying the truth. The Steelers players on that roster aren't looking for another old guy to come in there. They're looking for Justin Fields to be that guy. But I got to talk about that also. Justin Fields appears to have a vast market right now, and I know we've talked about that on several shows, that there hasn't been much interest last year when the Steelers were able to acquire Justin Fields for a 6th-round pick. Well, it was either going to be a 4th or a 6th, but they managed to just pay a 6th for him, considering his length of play, his percentage of play. So they were able to keep that down to a minimum cost in terms of draft value. But right now, it appears that the Justin market has exploded. And I know many people don't want to hear that, but I think Justin Fields has a lot of options right now. I think a lot of teams are going to be willing to take a chance on Justin. I know that was a small sample size with the Steelers, and I hope Justin has the right head on his shoulders and doesn't get himself into another Chicago Bears situation. That's going to be the key in this whole thing. Is Justin Fields smart enough? Is he smart enough to understand that staying with a stable franchise is the only thing that makes sense for him at this stage of his career? He has to put some good seasons together. He has to build the confidence. He has to start growing. And he did that in Pittsburgh. But you don't do that with an unstable franchise. You just don't do it. And you're going to be sent into quarterback hell, quarterback purgatory if you don't watch your steps. These got to be very calculated moves for the Pittsburgh Steelers and Justin Fields. So we're going to talk about that. Also, what's up, Froggy 2? I don't know, man. I have no clue, man, what's going on. I have to go into my studio to look, like actually on the internet, not just my mobile app, because my mobile studio, I can't do too much on there. I actually have to like log in and go in and see. I'd have to go in and see what I got to do. But I can look into it, dude. Yeah, man, good to see you. Absolutely, Roberta. Good to have you in the chat. Yes, let's hit that like button, like Miss P saying, man. Hit that like button. Also, guys, when we were talking about what Deshawn Elliott said about, hey, keep his old ass in the retirement home, you got to take into consideration where the Pittsburgh Steelers are at this stage of the building process with this football team that's been going on for so fucking long. It makes you almost nauseous. But where are the Steelers at right now in terms of their building of this roster? They cannot afford to make a miscalculation here again. They cannot afford to do it because I'm telling you guys, they are just a couple wrong moves of setting themselves so far back that it's going to take another decade to dig themselves out of it. Oh, excuse me, guys. I didn't want to burp in your ear, so I had to kind of hold it down. But yeah, the Steelers are just a misstep or two away from that, and I know a lot of people don't want to hear that either. Daniel Warman in the house. Hey, Jason, Rodgers is spent. I would not spend money on another quarterback except Fields. I would bet Wilson will be a Steeler next year. Thanks. I can guarantee you this, Daniel. Russell Wilson will not be a Pittsburgh Steeler. There is a literal 1% chance. Good to see you, though, buddy. There is a 1% chance that happens, and that is the Pittsburgh Steelers have nothing else on the table that they can get done anywhere else, and Russ is still out there lingering around. And I don't see those stars lining. I really don't. The Pittsburgh Steelers have not been shy about what they want this offseason in terms of a quarterback, and that is Justin Fields. They've been very, very honest and very blatant about it, guys. I don't know how much more clear I don't think that this franchise could really be. They are very blunt about wanting him. Maybe not just coming out and saying it, like right to your face, we want Justin Fields, period. But they have done everything in their power to show that that's what they want. And they are in negotiations with Justin Fields for sure. And I will just say this, Russell Wilson is not on their radar right now. He is a guy that would maybe be a last-ditch effort type guy if you had no other option. And I'm saying this with 1,000% confidence, guys. Again, no inside information. I'm just putting two and two together here. And I'm not going to sit here and claim to have inside information because I think that's corny to say. But again, I can pretty much guarantee you will not see Russell Wilson in a Steelers uniform, and Najee Harris will not be in a Steelers uniform, which we're going to talk about a possible replacement for Najee Harris here that some of you might not think about. Downtown John Broadway. Funny how time has changed the football world. Justin Fields should stay in Pittsburgh and see what he can offer as to giving him better possibilities. But we need Jalen to be our primary back. What about adding Nick Chubb downtown John Broadway? Nick Chubb, a guy that could potentially be in a Pittsburgh Steelers uniform next year, according to some reports out there. Chubb, even with a limited workload, Chubb would bring experience and leadership needed to that offense, according to one article here. And I'm not sure why people are getting on this train right now. But Chubb has sustained some major injuries over the last couple seasons, and it looks to be that Chubb should be able to sign a shorter-term deal with those injuries. He's not going to demand that money because of those injuries. So possibly, could Nick Chubb be in a Pittsburgh Steelers uniform? And what would the tandem of Nick Chubb and Jaylen Warren look like in a Pittsburgh Steelers uniform, in a Pittsburgh Steelers offense? I think it would be absolutely lights fucking out, my friends. I really do. And I know Nick Chubb is a former Cleveland Brown, basically, at that point. And I get the hatred with Cleveland. But guess what, guys? If he can come over, he's familiar with the AFC North. He's a guy that can run downhill, really, really show you what it's like to dominate in the run game. And I believe having him with a guy like Jaylen Warren, a guy that can hit a home run, a guy that can catch out of the backfield, be very versatile, added with that guy like Nick Chubb that can just do it all. A guy like Nick Chubb that's a proven commodity. Man, would that just be a monster 1-2 punch. And then you add the running ability of a guy like Justin Fields if you're able to bring him back. I think all of a sudden that run game gets real, real good, and that's going to make that offensive line look a little bit better. It's going to. Guarantee you, my friends. I don't think everybody quite realizes. I'm not saying Najee's a bad player, because I don't think he is. But Najee Harris isn't that superstar running back that can carry a football team. He's not that guy. He is not a top 5 running back in this league. He may be a top running back in this free agency market. Why? Because of his age. Maybe because of the money that you might have to pay him just might not be as dramatic as some big name backs. You might be able to get him in the right system and do good things. But Najee Harris isn't a guy that's going to carry a football team, isn't a guy that's going to give your football team that spark week in and week out. He lacks consistency. He lacks a steady average in terms of yardage per game. I just don't think that guy is a guy like that. I think he's a role player. That's what he'll be in the NFL, a role player. He needs to be involved in a backfield to where it's a running back by committee type thing. In my opinion, he could be the lead dog in that, but he just doesn't get in that rhythm that you would like to see sometimes. There's a game here or there. Yeah, that's fine. But I just don't see that with Najee Harris week in and week out. I talk myself in circles with Najee Harris, guys. I really, really do. Let's keep going. Miss Pittsburgh waving that terrible towel. Zach Curry, what do you think we should do about the defense? I think that you got to add a nose tackle. I think you got to go out there and add some secondary help. I think you got to continue to really evaluate whether or not you need the services of Minka Fitzpatrick anymore for the price that he is currently at. I think that maybe you could utilize him inside of a trade and maybe gain some draft capital for a possible run at a franchise quarterback if need be in 2026. Or perhaps going out and making a trade this season and getting some draft capital to where you could possibly get a young stud safety, a big heavy hitter back there, a guy that's going to really be somebody that can do some good things with some young, fresh legs. Or maybe you go and pick up a safety somewhere in free agency. But $18 million per season is not warranted for a guy like Minka right now. He's just not producing at the level to dictate $18 million. And if I'm the Steelers, I talk to Minka and I say to him, my friend, you haven't got it done here in 2.5 years in terms of production. I don't know if we can continue to do business at $18 million. And that's kind of where I'd be with him. And I'd be honest with him and be like, hey, do you want us to look for a trade for you? Or do you want to work out maybe a new type of deal here to where we can keep you a Pittsburgh Steeler, but maybe bring that salary cap hit down a little bit and maybe be able to put some pieces into that defense that, make a difference. Some younger players, some young, fresh legs. I don't know. Maybe that is the case, but again, you got to add some depth in that secondary. You need a real true nose tackle, run stuffing guy. And it wouldn't hurt to add another edge piece, to add to TJ Watt, Alex Highsmith, Nick Herbig, and add somebody really electric, man, because that would be super cool to add somebody electric. Go out there and get you somebody monster at that defensive end position, that outside linebacker position, that pass rush position. Daniel Barry, Sports Network. What's up? Yes, Jason, we are on the teetering aspect of how narrow our moves should be handled. Yeah, the Steelers guys are on a razor-thin edge, I'm telling you, and I know people won't want to believe me when I say this, but they are a couple miscues away from being in the fucking basement of the NFL. I'm telling you guys, it's one of those fine lines they're walking right now. And I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I'm saying it is a very real possibility that has to be entertained. If you're the Steelers and Omar Khan, you cannot afford to make any miscues this offseason. You really have to bring in the proper personnel because you are dealing with a handicapped coach, a coach that just doesn't have two brain cells to rub together in terms of schematic football. That's just my opinion. Some may not agree with me there either. But again, I don't feel like he's very good at schematic football. I feel like he's a little bit of an idiot, a clown show. And again, I'm not just saying this because I'm saying this because I have a decade of the repeated over and over stale bullshit that Mike Tomlin brings to the table, no matter who's at offensive coordinator, no matter who's at quarterback, no matter who's anywhere in that building. Nothing changes. The results are consistently the same. And that tells me what? I have to pin that on Mike Tomlin. I have to. There's no other person to pin it off of. The math don't fucking math if I don't pin it on him. Who else do you blame, considering the results have been the absolute same, but yet there's only been one constant. One. Uno, one constant. And I don't want to hear, oh, he didn't have a franchise quarterback. Yeah, he did. He had Ben Roethlisberger. And he only won at the very beginning stages of his coaching career with Ben. And after that, they never got it done. I'm just saying. And Ben could have won more Super Bowls. They had some teams. When they had a great offense, though, they had a shitty defense. When they had a great defense, they had a shitty offense. They've never been able to get it together, and it makes you wonder. I can pin some of that on Kevin Colbert, too. I feel like he fucked up in big ways, too, several times. You're not going to hit on every draft pick, but he made some big blunders inside of the first round. Guys like Jarvis Jones. I'm just saying. You have the picks of guys like Lima Swede who are wide open, man. I just saw a highlight the other day. It was a playoff game, I believe, of the Steelers, and Lima Swede hit him in the hands, and he dropped it. Just those players that have happened. Now, they've hit on some, the Antonio Browns, the Emmanuel Sanders, the Santonio Holmes, the TJ Watts, those types of guys. And then you got picks like Terrell Edmonds. Steady player, but would you have picked him in the first fucking round? I mean, come on. Najee Harris, steady player, but is he a first-round talent? No. Come on. I mean, let's be honest. No. There's a lot of miscues that have been happening over the years. Everything isn't probably on Mike, but damn, he's the head guy. You got to shoulder it. All right, guys, I need you to beat the shit out of that like button for us here on Steel City Live, only on Mike Drop Sports. It's your home for Steelers daily content each and every single day. NFL football is constantly being talked about here on the channel. If you're not subscribed, I don't know what the hell you're waiting for. Join the conversation. We are about to hit 4,500 subscribers, so let's get to that tonight. We're almost there. So I know you guys can get there, and we'll continue our goal toward our goal of 5,000, and I know we can hit that very, very soon. And we want to be at 10,000 definitely before too long, and I know we can do that with your help. Roberta Campbell, I think if Fields is willing to accept a 2-year deal, I think that would work with both him and the Steelers. Draft back, draft and pick up for next draft and get the next franchise quarterback next year. Yeah, that's what I feel like, Roberta. I think that's the way you got to handle it. Build some draft capital, really have some a heavy arsenal moving into 2026. That's a draft in your city, a draft in which is going to have some quarterbacks that you're going to be able to obtain. Really do your homework on that 2026 draft. If you want to get a guy here in the third or fourth round this year, so be it. Do it. But again, you got to be careful, guys, of what you waste in terms of draft picks. You can't afford to waste any, man. The Steelers are walking that razor wire right now. They make a bad move or two, and it's over. They're going to be set back big time. And yes, you can recover if you got a good front office staff. You can build quickly, hitting on a couple draft picks here and there. But man, if that's just flipped the other way and you really fuck up on a couple draft picks here and there, and you really make some more blunders inside of free agency, things get bad quickly. Craig Werlow in the house. I can't believe this Rodgers situation is starting to gain steam with the Steelers. Yeah, and I don't think it will gain any more steam. With Deshawn Elliott saying, leave that old son of a gun inside the retirement home, I don't think you're going to see much more of it. If there's players inside of your locker room that are voicing this to the media, I don't see it happening. I do not see it happening. I don't see how Art Rooney, I don't see how Omar Khan, I don't see how Mike Tomlin, I don't see how anybody in that front office staff would be comfortable bringing in Aaron Rodgers, who is, in my opinion, a cancer. I feel like his best days are far, far behind him. I feel like he is just one little slip and fall from a broken hip. He's that damn old. I just think it's time for him to hang up his cleats and go figure out what ayahuasca trip he wants to go on next. Enjoy yourself, buddy. You got money. Get out of the hair. Get out of our hair as Steelers fans. We don't want to hear it. Deshawn Elliott, a guy on that football team that is a major, major key piece to that defense, in my opinion, the best defensive player that was brought in through free agency in quite some time. if he's voicing that opinion, I'm gonna have to side with him. And I don't think Aaron Rodgers is that way to go. I still would like for Jalen to be a running back one. Yeah. I'm not saying Jalen doesn't get that running back one job, that number one slot through this year. But you gotta sign him too. That's another thing, guys, that we're forgetting. They got to be able to get Jalen Warren under contract. They got to be able to bring somebody else in. It's not going to just be Jalen and that's it. There's a lot of free agents too on this team that they got to sign if they want to. Yo, Robo, Steelers are ass, go Birds. Well, there you go, man. Good to see you. You don't have to, we're a good chat. You don't got to be so cry. Yes, I take Chubb, Chubba, choo. Yes, I would too, man. I love Chubb. I would love to have Nick Chubb in the building. Craig Werlo, Robo, only one team a year doesn't suck at the end, and the Ravens haven't been there either. Are you a Ravens fan or are you a Eagles fan? Both say go Birds. So Cardinals fans say go Birds. I'm just saying there's several teams that say go Birds. The Falcons fans say go Birds. I mean, I don't know which team. You got to be a little bit more particular. Go Birds. There's 15 teams with birds as their logo. Pick one, mother. Flag. You get a flag for just saying go Birds. Which bird? Yes, guys too. I love it how people come in here and go, Chiefs better, Bengals better. That always annoys me, but it's exactly right what Craig said. There's only one team a year that doesn't supposedly suck. So what are we doing? Again, yeah, that's the ultimate goal. The season's a failure. If you don't win the Super Bowl, it's a failure in my eyes. I don't know. That's the way I'm wired. That's the way I think. That's the way I think the Steelers should think. That's the way I think any pro team should think. We're not at the level for, it's good, guys. Hey, another 10-win season, man. Great job, buddy. No, it's the pros, man. It's the big leagues, baby. It's professional sports. There's only one thing that makes your season successful, and that is catching a championship. If that isn't done, then it's a failure. Let's keep going down through the chat. Again, guys, I just go down through, so don't spam the chat. It takes me longer to get through, so just that's a reminder. I'm not saying anybody is doing it, but I just go down through the chat. When I get to your comment, I get to it. If I don't, I apologize. But I am going straight down through the chat from the start of the show the whole way down through. I do look over here periodically that if one catches my eye, I will read it off, but I'm not reading them down here, but I'm reading them over here, and I'm trying to get through as many people as possible. That's why I urge you to get into the show early, get your comment put in there early, and we will try our best to get to them all, every one of them. Big Steelers need to make some hard decisions on that defense. Absolutely. What's good, man? Love the show. Glad to be here. Thanks, Chase. Appreciate that. Mark Malone in the house. Stinka is now a Tomlin player through and through. Bring back Bustin' Fields and let's get a twofer. Hey, man, I'm down for losing two this year. I want that number one pick. I want Archie Manning. Come out, Archie. Come out next draft. That's who I want. Come on out and play NFL football. Let me take you. Let me get a Manning in the building. I wouldn't be opposed to it. If I knew for sure Arch Manning was going to be in the 2026 draft and the Steelers said, you know what, man? We want that guy. We're going to lose every fucking game in 2025. I'd be like 10-4. 10-4, good buddy. I don't care. I'm good with it. Because I know that literally you get somebody back there with a Manning-type football IQ, I know you're going to be good for the next 10 to 15 years, and I'm definitely okay with that. It's Doe, Brighton Heights, born and raised. Well, welcome, Doe. It's Doe. I like Doe, man. I like that Doe. Downtown, say adios, Minka Fitzpatrick. Time to restructure his contract or cut him loose because it's time. Like smart moves make our team steady. Yeah, and I don't think a lot of people put enough stock into draft capital, man. Accumulating a lot of picks, man, can really change the fortunes of your football team in a big, big way. Zaw says, Bussin' Fields, JF2 is him. It's Doe. At least PA are still Super Bowl champs, huh? Yeah, man, I'll take it. Dude, I did not want to see the Chiefs win another Super Bowl. I just didn't. I was over it. I was ready for a new team to win, and we've seen the Chiefs in every AFC Championship game, every Super Bowl. It just gets to the point of I need a little bit of a mix. I would have loved to seen the Buffalo Bills in that. But man, I was rooting for the Eagles, no matter how hard it was. But I really wanted the Eagles to win that Super Bowl, and they were able to dominate. And they didn't just beat the Chiefs; they beat the shit out of the Chiefs from the first whistle to the last whistle. The Chiefs had no answer for that Philadelphia defense, for that Philadelphia offense. They had no answer at all. And that is crazy to me, that they were that outgunned. And it just showed you the Chiefs roster wasn't that great this year. What was great, I felt like, was their coaching all year long was just great. And I felt like they ran into a fucking buzzsaw in the Philadelphia Eagles, a team, in my opinion, that was the best, probably the best roster in football, hands down. Defensively, just super, super good, man. I don't know if you guys recall, man. I wanted Cooper DeJean so bad, and then I see him getting a pick six in the Super Bowl, and that's when I had the Steelers in every mock draft I had them picking Cooper DeJean, and they didn't pick him, man. And there he is. Congratulations, Cooper DeJean. Tomlin sucks. I agree. Roberta, do you feel Tomlin having Ben helped cover up his warts? Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Absolutely, but it didn't cover him up enough because they never got back to that. Once Ben lost that Super Bowl to Green Bay, and that coward team started to really dismantle, and Tomlin was really just trying to build that roster back up through him, man, it never was right again except for the Killer Bees. But they weren't able to get it done because I just feel like they got out-coached, or an injury happened, those types of things. And they weren't ever able to get it together. So, yeah, I do think Mike Tomlin had his warts covered up a little bit by a Hall of Fame quarterback in Ben Roethlisberger. Mark Malone, Swede could get open like a mofo. Yeah, he could, Mark. He could, dude. That son of a bitch couldn't catch shit. He couldn't catch nothing. It was crazy, the drops he had. All right, guys, I need you to beat the shit out of that like button. It's absolutely fucking free to hit that like button. All you got to do is double tap that screen or hit three little white dots up in the right-hand corner of your screen. That brings down that like button, and you can hit it. It's absolutely free. If you're not subscribed, make sure you subscribe. I keep this show, this live stream, I keep it absolutely ad-free for you. I do not monetize it until after the show is over, and then I monetize it after that in terms of ads. So I put no AdSense in during the show. So I feel like at least we can have an even trade here. You throw the likes out there, I'll keep it ad-free. But if we can't hit the likes, I'll have to start putting ads in it. And I don't want to do that. So let's keep the like button just lit up, man, and show your support for a creator that actually supports you by not making you watch ads and all that bullshit. So let's keep on rolling. Daniel Warman. How about getting Micah Parsons from Dallas or trading for Cincinnati Trey Hendrickson? I just think what it would cost to get a talent like that, Daniel, is far too great for the Steelers. I don't think that they would make a trade of that magnitude, especially with those two teams. They would expect a boatload of return for elite talent like that, and I don't blame them. I would too. But I could not see it. Would it be awesome? Absolutely. I would love it because the Steelers do need another elite player like that to add with TJ Watt to really truly make a run with that defense. That would be absolutely fabulous. But, I don't think it would be anything that could really practically happen. But, man, would it be awesome, brother. Craig Werlow, a month from today starts free agency madness. Absolutely. I feel like there's deals already being worked out in the NFL, so we'll see how this all goes. That's why deals happen so quick in free agency because, guys, they're working on shit now. There will be deals in place ready to roll by then, so we'll see what happens. But definitely, I think priority has to be quarterback at first. I think you have to go after some skill players. Adding depth along the offensive line wouldn't be a bad idea. Finding a true nose tackle wouldn't be a bad idea. So there are many, many options. And one good thing is you have free agency before the draft, so you can kind of fill as many holes as you possibly can through free agency, and then really attack it with the draft. And hopefully by the time the draft rolls around, you have minimal things that you really truly have to address, and then you can get in that mind state that I always want the Steelers to be in, and that's best player available, and just go that route. When you have most of your holes filled, you're able to do that, and that's how you add so much quality depth to a roster, is that way. Dakota Malchi, greetings. Can you get Justin Fields as your guest? Probably not. No. I've had Merrill Hodge on. That's the only Steeler I've had on, former Steeler. Yeah, probably not, guys. I mean, I put out some messages. Maybe I'll get lucky at one point. I don't pay for appearances. I don't make no money off of YouTube except for a couple $100 a month. So, I can't pay for appearances. Maybe one day when we grow and, I make a steady revenue source, I'd be willing to pay a guest here or there. But you know what? I want people to come onto the show because they want to, not because I pay them. But yeah, probably not. I wish, Dakota, though. You never know, though. You might stumble onto somebody. I do go to training camp a lot to where maybe I'll ask one. I'm bold. I don't give a shit. I'll ask. I don't mind. I'll ask one of them one day. I don't mind. Thunder God, Aaron Rodgers coming here. Obviously, y'all ain't paying attention. He's not coming here, man. Nobody said that, Thunder God. You got to... Guys, don't look off the thumbnail and act like you know what the conversation's about. Read the description, understand the show, listen to the content. Don't just comment and act like you know what's going on with the show until you hear what's going on. It makes you look stupid. Yeah, they really going to listen to Elliott. Why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't he have a say? He's a player already on the fucking team, Thunder God. Please don't use God in your name either, because that's so vain. That's so weird. Mr. T, Philly sucks balls. Daniel Warman signing Rodgers is worse than Cleveland signing Rub-a-Dub Watson. Absolutely, I agree, Daniel. Lindsay C in the house. If we get Rodgers, maybe he will get Tomlin fired. You know what? That's not a bad idea, Lindsay C. That's not a bad idea. Tyrone in the house. What's up, Tyrone Johnson? If Rodgers comes cheap, Rooney's all in. Trade up for Mason Graham round 1. Hey, I wouldn't mind Mason Graham. Here's the thing. We're going to be doing some mock drafts next week. I just meant to tell you guys that. So some mock drafts will be coming up. And what I'm going to incorporate is free agency into that. I'm going to look at the league's best free agency players that I feel like the Steelers should go after. And I'm going to incorporate free agency into my mock drafts. I'm not just going to go mock draft without any free agency thought, because I feel like that's kind of stupid. I feel like I need to go in, look at that free agency market, because free agency is before the draft. So here we go. We have to make sure that that's incorporated. So I'm going to do that, find those free agents, and really give you mock drafts that make actual sense. Not mock drafts that are just so far-fetched, just naming players to name fucking players. Anybody can do that. I want to have some value to you guys. So look out. Next week, our first mock drafts will be coming out, and they will have free agency incorporated. All right, guys, make sure you're hitting that like button. I need some more of you to hit that like button, man. Double tap that screen. We always are chasing 100 likes here on the live stream. Again, if you could, please share the show. And send us out into that YouTube algorithm. If you're not subscribed, make sure you subscribe. Let's keep going. The real Axvion, I think you're a Browns fan. Yeah, you're right, buddy. Michelle Franzer, go Birds. Kenny P finally got his ring. Oh, so she must mean Philly. Okay, there's so many birds. I don't know. Roberta Campbell, I agree. They have to get another running back, but not sure Chubb would want to come as a number 2. I think they will get Jalen signed and at a good deal. Here's the thing. You don't have to come to Pittsburgh and have the title of 2. Again, I think that the Steelers' run game works best with two monster running backs. I think it's a necessity, to be honest. I think then you have the ability to ride a hot hand at times. I feel like you have the ability to change pace, keep guys fresh. And I don't think that that's a bad thing. I don't think it's a deterrent anymore at the running back position. I don't think a guy coming into a building has to worry about who else is in that room because you're going to get touches. And at this point in Nick Chubb's career, I think Pittsburgh would make sense because if you do have a guy like Jaylen Warren in the room already, you don't have to go out there and absolutely kill yourself week in and week out, especially with his injury history over the last couple seasons. So that might give Nick Chubb a real restart of his career, a real jump start again to get back into the limelight because I feel like he could be very effective for, 20, 25 plays a game. And I think that's what you would want him to come in and do. And I think that he would understand that. And that's probably the situation that he's actually going to be looking for. Downtown, Aaron Rodgers is better suited for Jeopardy. He's quite intelligent, but hey, replace Tom Brady because he sucks at being a color commentator. Yeah, I'm not a fan of Tom Brady yet in the booth. Armand, Warren is fragile. Need a one back, bigger and stronger. Con artists and Tomlin and Rooney, birds of a feather. Very difficult to like the Steelers. They don't run a 3-4 defense. It's a 5-2-3-1 prevent D. Yeah, I always get a kick out of everybody's like, well, the Steelers are 3-4. This team, we'll just use the Eagles. They're 4-3. They do this. Guys, this is the NFL, and I got to tell you, 9 times out of 10, they're not in those base sets all the time. They're in sub-package football probably 80 to 90% of the time. That's just the way it is. Yeah, you're constantly changing due to scheme, and as the season goes on, hopefully the complexity of schemes are advancing in more and more and more each week, and that requires you to be in sub-package football more and more each week. So, yeah, they do play a lot of prevent because they usually can't stop they can't stop anything. Pittsburgh 4-1-2, no to Rodgers. This is why we should have seen what we had in Fields for the season previous. Yeah, I was a big advocate of Russell Wilson to start the season because I just wanted that veteran presence there. Justin Fields, though, once he did start and he went out there and got that 4-2 record, and guys, I saw growth every week, and I know some people didn't, and that's okay. I saw it at least with what I'm looking at, and I'm confident to say that I thought he was improving every single time he stepped onto the football field in one way or another. He never remained stale, in my opinion, during his 6 starts as a Pittsburgh Steelers starting quarterback. And again, once that time came for that change over to Russell Wilson, I was a heavy advocate for keeping Justin Fields at the quarterback 1 spot. Why? Because of team chemistry, first and foremost. Guys get used to that. They like their guy. They want their guy in there. And I feel like it disrupts the apple cart a little bit when you switch guys. I don't like that unless it's an injury type move. I don't like it at all. And again, I feel like that what Pittsburgh 4-1-2 said there, why not see what you had in the young guy and just had Russell as that insurance policy if Justin got hurt? Because you weren't doing yourself any favors by rewinding time and putting Russell Wilson in there in the middle of the season. You weren't doing yourself any favors in terms of moving forward and progressing and building this team. You were just actually setting yourself back, and I think Mike Tomlin has to be scolded for that because he took great credit when Russell Wilson was barely beating or beat up on a couple inferior teams. And hey, I applauded it. I love to see the wins too. Hell, if the Steelers are winning, I'm happy. But I'm still going to point out their deficiencies, and there were some deficiencies there. Russ wasn't their main problem on offense. I've said that before. But again, I would have really loved to seen Justin Fields get a real shake at it. I'm kind of glad he didn't because I felt like they didn't have the weapons. Though, what amazes me is that they let some weapons just sit the bench so much while they played guys like fucking McCole Pruitt and Patterson. Watch guys struggle over and over and over again. But yet there are people that just didn't get the snaps. And it makes you wonder, what the fuck are they looking at, man? I mean, I don't know. I'm not at practice, so it's hard to tell. But damn, it's tough to watch. I'm in for losing 2. Grasshopper plus Archie to the Browns. Why would any guy with the last name Manning accept a contract with the Cleveland Browns? I can guarantee you this, and I will say this with 1,000% certainty. 1,000%. And Cleveland fans, you can crucify me for it if you like. There is nobody that has the pedigree of Manning, of Arch Manning, the family, coming from the family like Arch Manning does, of football fucking royalty. There is no way in hell he would ever accept going to the Cleveland Browns. I will tell you that now. He would go back to school. He would drop out of the draft, whatever. He would literally sit out a year. I'm just telling you, there would be no way he would go to the Cleveland Browns. I'm telling you that now. They would do anything possible. Hell, Eli wouldn't even go to the fucking Chargers, guys. That just tells you something. They aren't going to go to a franchise that they don't want to go to. And I can guarantee you the Cleveland Browns are on that list. I can guarantee. Don't sleep. Jackson Dart, I like the dude as a 3rd or 4th round pick. I would be okay with a 3rd or 4th round pick of Dart, Howard from Ohio State. I'd be cool with that. Archie to New York Giants. Hope not. Downtown, there is only the Ratbirds and all others are just scum NFC losers. Malachi, unfortunately, yes, sir. Wave that terrible towel for Miss Pittsburgh. J-Dog, sub. Thank you, J-Dog. Miss Pittsburgh, fly Eagles fly. Pittsburgh 4-2. I saw that ass whooping coming once the Eagles ran on the field after Bradley Cooper introduced them. Difference with the Chiefs was obviously obvious. They looked flat. They did, man. They come out and got punched in the mouth, and they didn't know how to respond. They did not know how to respond. Dallas Beef explained, Tomlin is nice, bro. Tomlin sucks ass, bro. I hate to be ignorant, and I'm not, Dallas. You're allowed your own opinion, and I promise I'm not sitting here trying to dog you. I'm not. I appreciate you tuning into the show, but I'm not going to sit here and act like Mike Tomlin is a top 10 coach, or top 5 coach, rather. I'm not. He's a top 10. But he's not a top 5 coach. He's just not, guys. Steers never gives 2 craps where Roger goes. He's expensive and isn't the same. Time to hang it up, Aaron. Absolutely. Pittsburgh 4-2. Tomlin covered Ben's warts as well. Why does every Tomlin hater not blame some of those teams on Kevin Colbert? Horrible drafts toward the end. I mentioned that Pittsburgh 4-2. I don't know if you heard me. You got to give some blame to Colbert. You got to give some blame to some of those variables. But there's one common denominator in all this, no matter who's at quarterback. Again, no matter who's on this roster, no matter who's on that coaching staff, everything remains the exact same, and nobody can really argue that. We see it. The proof's right there in front of us. And that's where I have to shoulder the blame of Mike Tomlin when nothing is different ever. The same things are brought up over and over and over in the same situation. We're talking about the same fucking things every year with Mike. You know what I mean? And again, he has to shoulder that blame. You want to be the man? Then carry the fucking blame when shit don't go right. He wanted to stand up at that podium and talk about, that's why I get paid the big bucks. That's why I'm this. That's why I'm great. My ego's so big I can't fit it through the door. He wanted to do it then, right? He wanted to talk all that shit when Russell's winning. But he don't want to shoulder the blame when they're taking that ass beating, does he? Just saying. That's the thing I don't really like about that guy. And yeah, he puts on a great facade. Vast vocabulary, speaks pretty well. But does he speak really well? I feel like he talks in circles. I feel like he really has no real clear-cut answer ever. And I get it. You don't want to give the media answers because you want to keep stuff in house. I get that. I'll give him that part. But still, there's nothing really clear and concise about what he says. It's just out there. It's just out there. And hey, I may do the same thing. I may talk in circles, but I don't get paid 14 and a half, 15 million, 16 million a year to coach the football team either. You know what I mean? So, he's held to a little bit different standard than Jason that's making $200 a month off of YouTube. You know what I mean? Just saying. All right, guys, we need to hit that like button. I keep this show absolutely ad-free for you during the live stream. I do not monetize it until after the show, so please go out there. Hit that like button for us. It's absolutely free. I feel like that's an even trade. I keep it ad-free. You hit the like button. That makes sense for me. So I do something for you. You do something for me. So there you go. I appreciate that. Double tap that screen, hit that like button, or hit 3 little white dots up in the right-hand corner of your screen. That'll bring down that like button. Also, Kirk says, yo, with some Eagles stuff downtown. Jason, my question is, if we could get Manning and Tomlin is still our head coach, who's going to help him? What are we going to do? Get his uncles to help him? They'd have to do something. Shit. I don't know if I'm March Manning, if I would want to come to the Steelers. If Mike Tomlin's there, I don't know. I'd be like, look, bro, if I'm coming here, I'm fucking throwing the ball. If I'm coming here, we're going to have some game plans of complexity. We're not going to come in here and do the same bullshit week in and week out and expect a different result and expect me to go up to the podium and answer questions for your mediocre bullshit. I'm not. I'd be blunt about it, dude. That's what I would do. Rodlin, I don't know why they brought back Pat Meyer. In my opinion, I felt like he did a fireable job. His job performance was one of which that was a fireable one. That's just my opinion. I have no clue. He's a buddy of Mike's, so, he's probably not going to go anywhere. Again, they sit around, man. I can guarantee it. Mike and his buddies that are on the coaching staff, they all sit around and probably laugh and say, this is the only job that you could be super bad at that they ain't gonna fire you, man. They're super loyal. They ain't gonna fire you. It don't matter. You can do whatever fuck you want. We ain't got to put a good product out there. It just got to be average. As long as it's average, we're not getting fired. They ain't gonna expect no change, and we don't even got to answer to it. It just got to be average, and we're gonna be okay, guys. I can guarantee those conversations happen over a cold beer. Tyrone says, Ryan Shazier doesn't get hurt, we wouldn't be crying about Super Bowls, and the whole Le'Veon Bell situation didn't happen. Yeah, I mean, there's 2 things that may have changed the fortunes of the football team. I can't disagree there at all. I can't. But that's a what if, and we'll never know, all I can go off of is what has happened. You know what I mean? But you're right. What if those things never happen? Maybe things are different. Maybe we're not talking about this same stuff right now. But again, no matter if the Steelers would have won the last 10 Super Bowls, my thoughts would still be the same. If you don't win a Super Bowl, it's a failure of a season. My thoughts will always be that. And again, I don't care if they literally win a Super Bowl every year for a decade straight. I would not be satisfied. It just wouldn't be satisfying to me. And I know some may not agree with that, and that's okay. That's just the way my brain's wired for some reason. I just feel like if you're not winning at all, what are you doing? It's not good, And there's problems, there's issues. And if you can't win at all, you got to go back to the drawing board. And there are things that you have to fix. And there are things that you're going to have to talk about and hard conversations that you're going to have. And even if you do win the Super Bowl, there is always something that you can fix. There's always something that you have a deficiency in. There is no perfect team. There is no perfect anything. Well, yes, there's one. That's our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. But that's just my opinion. That's the only perfect being thing ever in the history of this world. And there is no sports team that's perfect. Talk about the other other team in PA, Eagles. I've talked about them ad nauseum, man. I'm kind of over the Eagles. Go Birds, Kirk, like Independence Day. I'm back. Well, welcome back, Kirk. Tyrone Johnson. Imagine what would happen if Philly happened to Philly if the Eagles lost. Yeah, they'd have burned that bitch down, bro. That's one thing I say about Philly fans. No matter if they win or lose, they're gonna burn that bitch down, bro. I spoke with you a few weeks ago. The Eagles made the rest of the NFL look stupid, including your Pittsburgh Steelers. Just trying to say hello. Well, thank you, man. Your comment doesn't have to be so brash, but cool. They didn't make everybody look stupid. The Eagles have had their moments. Do you remember a part of the season where the Eagles, they thought they were just falling apart? They thought that Jalen Hurts was on the outs with his 2-star wide receivers. Everybody was talking about how Jalen couldn't throw the football. Do you remember that? So there is no perfect team in the NFL, not even your Eagles that just won the Super Bowl. But we congratulate them. They won. They're the best team right now. They are the best football team on the planet right now, the Philadelphia Eagles. Beans, let's go. Let's get some receivers. Disclaimer: I don't know what you guys are talking about, but here we go, Steelers. Well, thank you. Thank you, Beans. Armand, are you going to do projected logical drafts and free agents most of the next week? No, I'm just going to do my first mock draft. It isn't going to be every day, but I'm going to do my first mock draft. It'll probably take over a couple days because we're going to, again, dive in with free agency, dive in with the mock, all that stuff, and we'll still be talking about things that transpire here. Again, it's the NFL. It's the Steelers. It's a 24/7, 365-day news period. And so there's always something to talk about. So we will get that going here. Justin says, should Steelers try to trade for Kupp? No, I just don't see doing some of those trades that are outrageous. I think you can go into free agency and make something happen. I feel like there's some players out there that make sense, if you were going to make a trade. Guys, that wouldn't require that kind of money, that kind of draft capital. Again, I feel like there's players out there that make sense, like guys like Christian Kirk, guys like T. Higgins. The players just that pop into my head that could come in and make a difference. Joe Hayden sucks. He's out of the league. Bella, who do you think the Chiefs, do you think the Chiefs will be back? Well, yeah, they'll be back. They'll be back next year. Do I think that they're going to go to the Super Bowl next year? No, I don't. And guys, I got to applaud the Chiefs on their run. It was absolutely fucking phenomenal. Magical. Very difficult to do in today's NFL. Absolutely, they have to be applauded for it. But you got to realize how much football those guys have played over the last 4 or 5 years. They have played a ton of fucking football. They came away with 3 Lombardis from it. But you know what? They're going to have a down year next year. And I'm not going to say they're going to have a losing record or anything, but they're not going to be in the Super Bowl next year. They need a reset year, and then you'll see the Chiefs back into full effect. They're going to have to start figuring out how to replace guys like Travis Kelce. They're going to have to start figuring out how to do some things differently to arm Patrick Mahomes with the proper weapons in order to win a Super Bowl, which they will. They'll retool, but I think it'll be a little bit of a rebuild year next year for the Chiefs. Not a massive one, but just a reset year, a year in which they get themselves together. Oh, I got that ringing. You ever get that ringing in your ears? You're like, what the hell? Seymour Whitetail. Eagles use nickel package the majority of the time. Jonathan Noll, what are your thoughts on Chuck Noll? I think Chuck Noll is amazing, man. I think he's the architect of the Pittsburgh Steelers franchise. He's part of the reason that the Steelers are where they are. Him, players like Joe Green. All the phenomenal athletes he was able to acquire, how they thought outside of the box going to HBCUs and acquiring great talent. How that Steelers team really was innovators, mavericks inside of the NFL, and they really took it by storm and created a dynasty in which is second to none, in my opinion. So definitely. And how do I feel about Chuck Noll? Well, right there he is, my friend. There is him on a program from 1988 Media Guide, the 56th season of the Pittsburgh Steelers. That's one Chuck Noll. So, yeah, how do I feel about Chuck? I love Chuck. Let me put that back up there in its proper home. Gotta have it. Yeah, shout out to Boone, man, my guy that I coach basketball with, my buddy. He got me all these media guides. I got them for like 1983. I got them from 86. I got them from 84, 87, 85. The 1990 Steelers media guide. I got a bunch, man. I got a bunch here. But he got them all for me for a quarter. Bella, hats off to the Eagles. Tommy Ruff, are you a bandwagon? No, no, not at all. How are you? How would you rate Terry Bradshaw? Good. He has 4 Super Bowls. I mean, got to rate him pretty high. Seymour Whitetail, what position will the Steelers take in the next draft, first round? I think it's going to be a skill position player, a receiver, something like that. Elite Drifty 13, we're getting Cup Trust. Don't know what that means. Cup, K-U-P-P. Do you mean Cooper Cup? Or, because C-U-P-P, isn't it? Yeah, who is Cup? I drink out of a cup. And that's even spelled wrong. Like it up. Like it up, fellas. Absolutely. Listen to Za Curry. Yeah, I don't think they're getting Cooper Cup, man. Silverback, Omega Prime, greetings. Thank you, man. I appreciate it, Silverback. He says, a fan of your show. Keep up the good work. Appreciate it, man. Ian Gove. The Eagles won the Super Bowl. We're the best in Pennsylvania. Steelers suck. That's crazy, dude. You can't make this up. What's Tomlin's record post-Roethlisberger era? Average. That's what he's been with. He was that with Ben. They were backing into the playoffs. Steve Winters, hey Ian, how many Super Bowls do the Eagles have? Shut your mouth. Pittsburgh forward 2. What's up, Steve? Hey, Steve, check me out. I'm representing your homeland, my friend. Pittsburgh 402 agree. Silverback Prime, my bad. Big thumbs. Steelers Nation, y'all suck. Let's go, Birds. J Mel, I love American sports, especially as only Americans watch it. Yeah, we don't need anybody else to watch it. We don't need anybody else to help us out. We already support the whole world. We're America. We police the world. We support the world. We do everything. We don't need you to watch our sports. We'll watch our own. Thank you, though. I'm just messing, man. I just had to respond to your comment. Don't get your panties in a ruffle. Chicago Sports Pug Roast. Are you bandwagon? What does that mean? You can't make this shit up, man. What people say. All right, guys, I need some people to light that like button up real quick. We're only at 38. Let's get them likes up here on the live stream. We're always chasing 100 likes. We need to get that hopping here. So double tap the screen. It's absolutely free. We got to start hitting at least 50 to 100 likes during the live stream here this week because, which we normally do, but we got to stay consistent with it or I'm going to have to add the ads, and I don't want to do that because we got to get that. We got to get those likes. We got to get sent out into that YouTube algorithm. So let's keep this show ad-free and continue to hit that like button. That's all I ask of the viewers is to hit the like, and I'll continue to keep it ad-free. Super Bowl, 250 million people watching. An average Premier Soccer game, 300 million. Well, there you go. I don't know if that's... Does it really make a difference? 250 million, 300? Does it really matter? I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Soccer isn't fun to me, man. I don't know. I like contact sports. I don't know. I want gladiators out there. I don't want to see a bunch of guys in short shorts running around. It's just not appealing to me. It's not. It is what it is. I like... The only soccer I do like, and I'll say this, is World Cup soccer. I do like World Cup soccer. When that's going on, I think it's pretty cool. I think that's one of the better tournaments. I think it's really fun to watch. It's exciting. So I'll give that, but just regular soccer. We're here with a friendly matchup. What's a friendly fucking matchup, dude? Like, I don't understand that. Oh, we're going to end in a tie. I hate that too. I wish the NFL would take the tie away also. Thanks, Tom. Appreciate it. Yeah, average isn't the standard, man. Kenny got a ring. Yeah, good for Kenny. He didn't earn that ring, though. But for the last 10 years average. Yes, Roberta agreed. Downtown John Broadway, the Kansas City Chiefs found out exactly what it means to try to go three-peat. Your body just can't do 3 seasons of NFL football and think your team between time free agency doesn't take a toll. Absolutely, downtown. And nobody's taken into account how many times have they been in the AFC Championship game in this Patrick Mahomes era? Tons. How many times have they made the Super Bowl? He's lost 2 times already. Hey, it's tough, man. They've been in 5 straight Super Bowls, I think, something like that. They've been in it a lot, and they've lost twice. So, yeah. Oh no, the Bengals were in one. I forgot. So they did get 1 year break. Mike Tomlin sucks, Mr. Floof. No, the Steelers aren't Robert Rodriguez. Devin Burkett, Rodgers does not help Pittsburgh hoist the 7th Lombardi trophy. We need to get, at the very least, a Lamar Hunt trophy this season. Yeah, I'd love it, man. I would love it. 74 drafts, free agent signings, best in history. Yes, I agreed, Armand. Steve Winters, hey, Jason, always good to hear you. My friend, what the fuck are we going to do? A quarterback position? Are you hearing anything about Fields? Yeah, the Steelers have tremendous interest in him, but the sad thing is the market has gotten to be robust, and that's where that's going to hold the Steelers back. We'll see how that works. All right, guys, I need one more person to double tap that screen real quick. Hit that like button for me. I truly appreciate it. Somebody took a like away. We were at 40, but somebody took one away. I need one more person to hit that real quick for us here on the live stream. Get us up to 40 likes. I'd truly appreciate that. Thank you to whoever did that. But we are going to wrap up the show. What's up, Russ? I see you at the bottom there. What's up, Hola? Steelers keeping running. No, they're not. But I got to wrap it up, guys. We've been going for an hour. I got to go get dinner for the family. So thank you all for joining us. If I didn't get to your comment, make sure you get in the show early tomorrow, and I will get to your comment. But I go straight down the list, guys. I do not deviate from the list. I go straight down. So if you want your comment heard, you better get in here early and get your comment put in, because I will get to it as we move down through the chat. Thank you, guys. Thank you so very much for everybody and your constant support here at Mike Drop Sports. Until tomorrow, I'm Jason. This is Steel City Live, only here on Mike Drop Sports. And we'll see you. Thank you. See you on the next one.